Well, ladies and gentlemen, I am back from my vacation and I'm continuing on our series of planets through nakshatras. And today we're going to be covering our nakshatra of Purva Ashada, meaning what? I'm sorry, not Purva Ashada. Yes, Purva Ashada actually. Yes. Get back in the mode, man. Get back in the mode. Forget partying. Yes, so we're going to be covering Saturn in the nakshatra of Purva Ashada in Vedic astrology, and what happens when Saturn is in the sign of Sagittarius between 13.20 to 26.40 degrees of Sagittarius zodiac sign, where it is sitting in the nakshatra of Purva Ashada. So that's what we're going to cover, and this is a nakshatra ruled by Venus. So as always, if you do not know where your Saturn is, what nakshatra it's in, all your other astrological details, for that check out the links here. Check out my full astrological report, including my books, Astrology, Conjunction, Aspects, and Mahadashas at the Speed of Light, including all my consultations at this link here. So let's get started with Saturn in the nakshatra of Purva Ashada. So Purva Ashada, as you know, is a nakshatra that represents new beginnings. It represents new experiences. It represents devotion to purity, devotion to our inner dharma. And this is a nakshatra that is ruled by the deity, I believe, is Adi, who is the god of water. And water itself is an element that represents transformation. Water can change through any path, go through anything, and water, in a way, also shows us our pure self. Pure water that gives life. So new experiences, new life is what Purva Ashada is all about. This is why it's represented by the elephant tusks, which is kind of like representation of regal royal things. And it also represents, tusk is a representation of even like victory. When kings returned from wars, they stood on elephants and came, which was that, hey, I am victorious. And especially in this nakshatra, the victory belongs to the purest person. The victory belongs to the religious, spiritual person. So Saturn actually in this nakshatra, it's quite comfortable because Sagittarius is a sign related to Jupiter, which represents higher wisdom, higher knowledge, pilgrimage, expanding your horizons. It's a nakshatra of believing in something more than yourself. That's what Sagittarius is. It's a nakshatra of believing in something more than yourself, more than your ego, your presence here. Like, it's amazing how, I don't know how I ended up watching these. I was watching people just suddenly passing away. Like, there was this Indian author, there's a video of him on YouTube where he's smiling, giving a speech, and suddenly he passes away. And I don't know how I got to that video. I think I was watching some other spiritual master, and from there that video came in. But that struck to me that, my goodness, we think as human beings that, oh, we got all these plans we want to do. I got this to do, I got this to do, I got this to accomplish. I need to beat up that enemy. I need to, take money from this person. They don't realize that all these plans, it means nothing, because within a split second, you are gone to the other side. Split second. It's like a simulator. You got to understand, this is a video game. Video game in real life is, remember, as above, so below. Why are we watching programs? Why are we watching video games? Because the personification of video game, the metaphor of video game is showing the reality above. It's saying that this particular plane is a video game, and when you lose, when the game is over, boom, you just come out of your, little virtual reality, and you're like, oh, now what do I got to do? Oh, I got to run to work. I'm playing too much, or I got to start working. That's what happens. This is a simulator. When it ends, the player ends, it ends. It's kind of like Purva Ashada Nakshatra is really like a nakshatra that kind of shows us as souls that pick this life to live. It's like watching a movie trailer. You know the movie, you know the actors, you know the story, you know how it ends, but still you want to go and watch it in the theater. That's how life is. You as a soul pick this life, even though you know how it's going to end, when it's going to end, what is going to happen, but you still want to just go watch it. This is a metaphor that was given by this spiritual philosopher who died called Shankar something. Shaker or Shankar, I don't know. But through him I understood. I'm like, wow, that's beautiful how he said that. So knowing that Sagittarius shows us that, look, there's more than our ego that says, oh, we got all these plans. But your plans can change, because why? God can call you anytime. And then you have this nakshatra of purity. You have this nakshatra of devotion. Because remember, the reason why Venus rules this nakshatra, why does Venus rules this nakshatra in the sign of Sagittarius? Because Venus represents devotion to something bigger than yourself, to something higher than yourself, to something much more important than, your jewelry and your cars and your home and your troubles and your debts. There's something more to it. So here's Saturn, which represents discipline, structure, organization, sacrifices, commitment, and duty, shows one is easily able to find duty, commitment, and make sacrifices on behalf of devotion, on behalf of God, on behalf of something bigger than ourselves. This is the sign of Dharma, Sagittarius. And this nakshatra, Purva Ashada, represents the following of the Dharma. The churning of the seed, not the ocean, the seed. So Saturn person with this placement will be like, this is who I am, this is what I gotta do. You can't sway me from my path. Especially Venus is not causing virodha. Definitely a person's, especially a man's spiritual pursuits will keep going on. Because a lot of spiritual people kind of get sidetracked and they come back to this real life. They get married, they have kids. Now they gotta, make money. Because of the fact Venus may have caused argala in a man or woman's life, where that person came and say, oh, I'm gonna grasp you into my realm and I'm gonna bring you out of your sadhana. So these people are very devoted towards religion, God, spirituality, devotion to a female goddess. Like if you have a servant, which is Saturn, your maternal uncle, which is Saturn, any kind of like a working class person you come across in your particular life, they will be people who are highly devoted to something, highly devoted to something bigger than themselves. They want to pursue a certain type of dharma in their life. And they do excellent when they put an effort into something. Those efforts are rewarded. Those efforts are rewarded. With this nakshatra placement, any effort you put in which is pure, you'll be rewarded. Why? Think about it. Saturn's third aspect, which is the aspect of effort, where does it fall from Sagittarius? The sign of Aquarius, its own Mool Trikon sign. So Saturn, with his devotion, sacrifice, commitment, finds inspiration to put more effort, through which it gets great results. So that's what this Saturn, I mean, there's a lot more going on. But Saturn here specifically mainly shows us our ability to devote ourselves to our pure dharma. Something which is beyond our ego. Pure dharma cannot be performing arts unless very few people do it without ego, that I just have to do it. Most people are doing it for fame, for money, for stardom. So this is why it represents the type of actions in our life which are purely away from our own ego. Okay? So guys, this was my analysis of Saturn in the Nakshatra of Purva Ashada. If you're new to my channel, subscribe below. Again, for those who are thinking, where's my Saturn in Mula Nakshatra? Remember, I already made Saturn in Mula Nakshatra when Saturn entered Mula Nakshatra in the beginning of this year. So I don't need to cover that. I already covered that. Okay? So again, subscribe below if you want to know about my books, reports, consultations. For that, check out the links here. Otherwise, we'll see you later. Bye-bye.